But the people in the cheaper seats, clap your hands. And the rest of you, if you just rattle your jewelry.
Hello, and welcome to my Beatles YouTube channel. If you like the Beatles, please make sure you subscribe and you check out my other videos because I'm sure you're gonna find them interesting. This is another episode of a new series called Song Secrets of the Beatles, in which we analyze every single Beatles song one episode at a time. Every episode is divided into 5 different sections: the story behind the song, in the studio, decoding the lyrics, breaking down the music, and legacy and impact. Today's song is Twist and Shout, the last track on the Beatles' debut album, Please Please Me. So let's go ahead with our first section.
The story behind the song, behind the song.
Just like many other songs on the Beatles' debut album, Please Please Me, Twist and Shout is a 1961 song written by Phil Medley and Bert Burns. The song was originally recorded by the Top Notes, but it didn't become a hit in the charts until it was reworked by the Isley Brothers for their 1962 album Twist and Shout. The song was covered by many other artists, including Salt and Pepper, The Astronauts, and Chaka Demus and Pliers. The Beatles' version of Twist and Shout was included on their debut album Please Please Me, and it was inspired by the Isley Brothers version. So let's go ahead with our next section.
In the studio, recording the song.
Twist and Shout was recorded by the Beatles on the 11th of February 1963 at Abbey Road Studios, of course at that time it was called EMI Studios, in London. And it was during a marathon session in which they recorded 10 out of the 14 songs of the Beatles' debut album, Please Please Me. Producer George Martin have seen the Beatles played live at the Cavern Club, and he wanted to recreate the atmosphere in the studio. That's why he asked the Beatles to perform all the songs in one day as if it was another show. As well as being the last track on the album, Twist and Shout was also the last song they recorded that day, during a session that lasted over 12 hours. That day, John Lennon was sick. By the time they recorded Twist and Shout, the strain on Lennon's vocal was evident. So they ended up recording the song in one take. They tried to go for a second take, but John Lennon had nothing left. That's why the Beatles' version of Twist and Shout has been called the most famous single take in rock history. John Lennon was initially ashamed of his performance in the song. Quote, "Because I knew I could sing better than that, but now it doesn't bother me. You can hear that I'm just a frantic guy doing his best." Beatles biographer Mark Lewison called it arguably the most stunning rock and roll vocal and instrumental performance of all time. So for this session we have John Lennon on vocals and guitar, Paul McCartney on backing vocals and bass, George Harrison on backing vocals and lead guitar, and Ringo Starr on drums. The song was produced by George Martin and engineered by Norman Smith. So let's go ahead with our next section.
This is decoding the lyrics.
Decoding the lyrics. Well, to be fair, there's not too much to decode here. The lyrics are pretty simple and they're not very much about storytelling, but much more about dancing and enjoying yourself and a shared sense of fun and excitement. Hi, sorry to interrupt the video. Just a very quick, very important announcement. I published a book. That's right, I published a book. It's called From the Cavern to Abbey Road, a journey through the Beatles' iconic landmarks. In this book, we see the story of the Beatles from the places where everything happened. Some of them are famous, like let's say Abbey Road Studios, and some of them perhaps not so famous, like for example the art gallery where John and Yoko met. I put a lot of work and effort into this book, and it would help me so much if you grabbed a copy. It's available on Amazon all around the world, so if you want your copy, please go to the link in the description. Thank you. Now back to the video. Let's go ahead with our next section.
Breaking down the music, breaking down the music, breaking down the music, breaking down the music.
Just like many other songs on the Beatles' debut album, Please Please Me, Twist and Shout is a very short song lasting only 2 minutes and 32 seconds. The song only uses 3 chords, which I'm going to show you in a minute. The backing vocals from Paul McCartney and George Harrison add to the call and response dynamic, which makes it a party banger. Now I'm going to show you something about the harmony. Twist and Shout is in the key of D major and it's only got 3 chords. D, which is the 1st grade of the scale, G, which is the 4th grade of the scale, and A, which is the 5th grade of the scale, and the 5th always wants to resolve. It wants to take us back to D, so very effective. A, D, we'll shake it, baby. Twist and shout, twist and shout. We also have a little guitar solo performed by George Harrison. And then this is a really cool part where we stay on the dominant, which is the 5th grade of the scale, A, and the Beatles' vocal harmonies spell the chord. John Lennon goes, ah, and then the other Beatles go, ah, which is the 7th. The 7 brings the most tension into the chord, you know? Ah, we really want to resolve, and then John Lennon screams, ah, and then we go back. Twist and shout, twist and shout. So let's go ahead with our final section.
And finally, this is legacy and impact.
Twist and Shout was included on the Beatles' debut album, Please Please Me, which was released in the UK on the 22nd of March 1963. And it reached the top spot on the UK Records chart, and it stayed there for 30 weeks, marking a very promising start for the Beatles. On the 2nd of March 1964, during Beatlemania, Twist and Shout was released as a single in America, with There's a Place as its B-side. On the 4th of April 1964, the song peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Singles Chart during the week where the top 5 places on the chart were all Beatles singles. In 1963, the Beatles performed at the Royal Variety Performance or Royal Command Performance at the Prince of Wales Theatre in central London, very close to Leicester Square, to a very distinguished audience, including the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret. Before playing the song, John Lennon famously said, "For the people in the cheaper seats, clap your hands, and the rest of you, if you just rattle your jewelry." Very cheeky, considering it was a very important occasion, but everyone laughed, including the royals, so everything was fine. However, before the show, John Lennon told Brian Epstein, the Beatles' manager, that he was going to say, "Rattle your f***ing jewelry." He was kidding, of course. So that was pretty much it for now. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. There is a PayPal link for donations. Of course, every donation will be absolutely appreciated. You can buy my book. That would actually make me very, very happy indeed. Or the free option is just to subscribe to this YouTube channel and maybe click on the bell icon so you're the first to know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Well, I'm afraid that's us run out of time.
Oh,
I'm really
okay.
sorry.
Oh,
So,
Bye, everyone.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I give my heart to you, I must be sure